All right, game one in the books. Sorry for the potato quality of the camera and the microphone. I am at my dad's house in the jungle room. See, jungle motif if you haven't seen it before, which is very nice, because we're both vaccinated and can watch the games together, which is great, and I love it. But that does mean I leave the nice studio set up behind, which means you have this sort of blurry camera and the crappy Mac mic. But it is what it is. I'm not going to bring my whole setup across town just to do this, even though it is a playoff game. So maybe I should, but I'm not going to. Celtics lose this one. Final score is 104-93. Game started off great. Really, it did. The Celtics were impressive. They came out, unlike typically, they came out really strong and aggressive. They were shooting the ball really effectively and efficiently. They were playing good, strong defense. The Nets looked sort of lost offensively, but you sort of knew it was only a matter of time till those things really flipped completely, and the Nets figured it out offensively. They're way too talented to not, and that the Celtics would slow down their torrid shooting start, and that's exactly what happened. And the old friend / enemy, realistically, of the Celtics is the third quarter, and that reared its ugly head as the Celtics took a lead into halftime, but then were outscored 20-31 in the third quarter, and really the Nets took it over from there. I think the Celtics did a lot of things well in this game, and I think that they might be frustrated because they held the Nets, who are, when healthy, the best offensive team in the league, to 104 points. So you go, okay, pretty solid defense there. But then the Nets are also one of the worst defensive teams in the league, and you only put up 93 on them. So there's certainly some problems there. And listen, this is always going to be a nearly impossible task to beat this team, especially without Jaylen Brown, especially based off of the way this team is constructed. And so anything other than 5 games, and I think this is going to be a net sweep, I still do, would be a positive thing for the Celtics. And this game did look like it was one they could sort of steal from Brooklyn. It was heading in that direction, and then they just completely fell flat in the second half. And what really hurt the Celtics were things that were in their control. They turned the ball over too much in the second half. As a team, they didn't have that many turnovers, only 12 to the Nets, and the Nets only had 11. But the turnovers came at big moments, and the Celtics, you can't, when you're playing a team like Brooklyn that has that type of offensive firepower, you can't give them easy baskets. You can't give them fast break transition points. You can't put them on the free throw line so willingly and easily. Brooklyn's not going to have a tough time scoring typically. So anytime that you're aiding them and doing that, you're really faulting. So there were things the Celtics could have done better in this game, but I think overall they're frustrated because they really didn't play that poorly, and Brooklyn didn't play that great, and yet Brooklyn still won by a pretty healthy margin of 11 points, and it really could have been more had Kemba Walker not hit a couple cheap threes at the end of the game. So really, before I get into the box score, I just want to say, if you're the Celtics, what you take from this game is I think you need to be able to try to impose your will on Brooklyn. What I mean by that is you can't try to match them in what they do well. You don't want to run with Brooklyn. They're just better offensively. They have far more horses than you do. You want to try to play a slow, methodical, gritty, dirty, ugly it up, really ugly up the game. Control the boards as best you can. Play physical. I know that NBA 2021 is not a particularly physical game, but you want to do your best to make sure that you're really trying to harass Brooklyn physically, because they're not a physical team at all. They don't want to be bumped. They don't want to be, messed with at all. And when you have a severe talent disadvantage, as the Celtics do compared to Brooklyn, you kind of got to play into that sort of ugly mentality where you're willing to mix it up and bang around with guys, and maybe you have to commit a couple hard fouls, make them think about it. You got to try to do something to get them out of their comfort zone. I also wouldn't be opposed to the Celtics trying to go sort of throwback to the 90s and play 2 bigs, play maybe Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson at the same time. It seems so counterintuitive in this day and age to play 2 bigs, especially when the three-pointer is such a big thing. But again, you have to play to the few advantages you have. Brooklyn does not defend well, especially the paint. They don't really have anybody that defends the paint at all. They don't play DeAndre Jordan. He didn't play tonight. And so if you can get easy buckets down low, I think that is and slow the game down that way by playing a more methodical pace. I think that could help the Celtics. In addition to that, if you can force Brooklyn into trying to drive the basket more, and then you'd meet them with Robert Williams, who had 8 blocks tonight, 9 blocks. How many did he finish with? He had 9 blocks tonight. Unbelievable. And Tristan Thompson, you do have 2 rim protectors there. So maybe that's, I'm not opposed to trying anything outside of playing Grant Williams. Why not? You're at such a disadvantage against this team talent-wise, and you don't have your second best player in Jaylen Brown. Why not try anything? I'll give Brad Stevens credit tonight. He tried Jabari Parker. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. It wasn't a bad idea, and I think overall it worked better than it didn't tonight. So that's the sort of creativity I think you need to bring when you have this massive talent disadvantage that you have against Brooklyn. So I think maybe go bigger, play slower, play more aggressive and more physical. Really got to play super, super physical with this Nets team because that's something they don't want to do. Listen, no matter what you do, you're probably going to lose the series, but you want to go down fighting. You don't want to embarrass yourself. You certainly don't want to be swept. You want to make Brooklyn work really hard. So try things that Brooklyn's not expecting. Do things that puts Brooklyn out of their comfort zone. Don't play the game Brooklyn wants you to play. They want to run up and down the court and have it be a shooting and scoring contest. No team will beat Brooklyn in a scoring contest or playing their style. Slow it down, muck it up, and try to make Brooklyn play 90s basketball if you can. So let's go into the box score before we get out of here, and you don't have to see them at the potato quality camera anymore. Celtics starters tonight were Jason Tatum, Tristan Thompson, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier. Tatum played really well in the first half, struggled in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. He was really not good. 22 points, 6 of 20 from the floor, not a great shooting night, just 1 of 4 from 3, 9 of 11 from the free throw line. That's pretty good there, getting 11 free throw attempts, so I'll take it. Just 3 rebounds and 5 assists. You'd like to see more on the boards for Tatum there. 1 steal, a block, and 4 turnovers, 5 fouls for Tatum. Not a great game for him. Obviously, Brooklyn was very, very keyed in on him defensively, and it's going to be tough for him all series as he's, the Celtics really only scoring threat, especially, as Kemba Walker sort of comes and goes. We'll get to that in a second. But a lot of minutes for just 22 points for Tatum. He'll pick it up, just not a good night for him. Tristan Thompson, I thought, was very good tonight. 25 minutes, 2 of 4 from the floor, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, and 4 points. I'd like to see a little bit more points, but I thought he did a good job playing physical, controlling the boards, obviously, with double-digit rebounds. He had a really nice putback dunk. I think he showed good leadership. You heard him on the bench wired up. I thought Thompson played a very solid game in his start tonight. Kemba Walker, I thought, was dreadful. The numbers look a little bit better because he did hit 2 cheap threes that were meaningless at the end of the game. 27 minutes for him. 5 of 16 from the floor, terrible. 3 of 7 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 1 rebound and 2 assists, 4 fouls, and 15 points on the night. Kemba needs to have a game like he had in the play-in game against Washington for the Celtics to win games. He can't put up 15. He's got to be closer to 30. They cannot possibly win with him scoring 15 and shooting so poorly. They have no shot. Marcus Smart played pretty well. 40 minutes for him. 6 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 8 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. 17 points for Marcus. He played a lot better in the first half than he did in the second. He sort of kept the Celtics alive with some shooting, but as we know with Marcus, he's a streaky shooter, so you can't really rely on him. 17 points for Marcus Smart with relatively efficient shooting for him. I think you take that. And if Kemba lived up to his end of the bargain and Tatum lived up to his end of the bargain offensively, maybe you're talking about a different game, but certainly you take the 17 points from Smart. Evan Fournier was not very good tonight, just 3 of 10 in his 39 minutes. He finished 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 10 points for him. Just an off shooting night for Fournier, who, he's a streaky shooter, and the Celtics have a lot of them. And again, to beat a team like Brooklyn, you really need to play almost perfect. And between Tatum, Walker, and Fournier, 3 of their 5 starters, they just didn't shoot the ball nearly well enough. Jabari Parker was the big surprise in this game, getting 22 minutes after getting a ton of DNP coaches' decision. I don't think anybody expected that, and he held his own. Listen, they tried to put him in isolation on defense a lot. He's not a good defender. It worked for Brooklyn, but he did make a couple of pretty good plays defensively, which is more than you would expect from him. He scored 9 points, which certainly you'll take from a very thin bench, 3 of 6 from the floor, so he was pretty efficient with it. 1 of 2 from 3. So I liked what I saw from Jabari Parker. I don't know if he'll work all series long because the surprise factor is gone, but I thought he held his own tonight. Aaron Nesmith played 17 minutes. He didn't really do all that much, just 1 of 5 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, 5 points. Not a lot there from the rookie. Obviously, this is a very tough situation playing against a great team like Brooklyn. He had to play Durant one-on-one a couple times, Harden one-on-one a couple times. It's a lot to ask for a rookie, and he didn't shoot the ball particularly well. Robert Williams was the best player for the Celtics in this game, without a doubt. He played 23 minutes. He had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 blocks. Just was an incredible rim protector. 5 of 8 from the floor. Energy all over the place. Really can't ask for a better performance from Robert Williams. He was fantastic tonight. Blocked in the paint, blocked jump shots, blocked threes, blocked 2. He was everywhere. So Robert Williams, awesome tonight. Definitely the player of the game for the Celtics, but still just wasn't enough. Peyton Pritchard plays just 7 minutes, doesn't record a stat other than 1 assist and a missed field goal. And your final score is 93-104. Brooklyn goes up 1-0. The next game in this series will be on Tuesday, again in Brooklyn. And the Celtics, I do think, can take some lessons from this game. Let's see if they're able to implement any of them and, play a little bit harder and dirtier, not like illegally, but more physical. Make it uncomfortable for Brooklyn. They weren't uncomfortable for long enough. You see, when they have those 3 mega stars, they're very hard to stop. So you got to take them out of their comfort zone. I'll be back for that game, whether I'm here with this crap camera or at home with the good one. We shall see. But until then, let's just hope that the Celtics figure something out, because I really don't want to get swept by this fucking Brooklyn team. Ugh. All right. See you later, everybody.